So an internal job opportunity has opened up and you're like, oof, I like that over there. However, you also know that if you don't do it right, you might be out of two jobs, because some people feel away if you try to transition laterally or even go up or wherever. And so because it's a game, I'm gonna teach you how to play it. And this is how to play the corporate game, part 21, specific to internal job transitions. Hi, my name is Beverly Dines. I'm a Chief Operating Officer having scaled operations for over a decade and in over 6 fields. And what we're going to start with is before that posting even exists. When you notice that you see a department that you really like, that you think you might want to actually transition to, whether it's in your skill set or not, you're going to start networking immediately. Start getting coffee or grabbing lunch with folks that are in that department, not necessarily the leader just yet, because you need to get the real tea as to what actually is going on in that department. What is the culture like? What are the expectations? What are the metrics? What are the demands? Because you may have determined that you like that field or that role type, but you may not like it there. And so often folks will want to jump into something, be excited, transition, and then they may not even like how that department is being run in that way. They just like the position and are excited about that type of position. So make sure that you are getting as much detail as possible before that role even exists. And even if you notice that the posting is open and you'd be interested, again, start with that networking. After you do that, you're then going to have a coffee chat with the leader of that department. Now, again, you are not going to mention that you are interested in the role. You're going to come from a place of exploratory behavior relating to your department. So maybe you work in engineering, maybe you work in data, wherever you work, you're going to say, oh, as it relates to my role, I'd love to connect with you just to, learn a bit more about how our roles intersect, and also about how, you all are managing these projects from your end, because I'm just always curious to learn more. Come from a place of learning, because now you're getting an opportunity to learn how that leader works, learn how they communicate, what their current pain points are, and connecting with them is going to be really important, because eventually this person's going to be your supervisor. So you also, again, want to make sure that this is a connection that you want to even have. And so let's say all that goes great. You're like, yep, I've networked with folks on the team. It looks good. I've networked with the boss, like them, and they're great too. Then what you're going to do is you are going to log down all of the types of tools and skills that you may need for that role, because this is the pre-application process. Again, you need to look to make sure that you have all the skill sets that that role will require. And if you don't, again, use that whole time that you have to start acclimating to those skill sets. If it's a certification, if it's a training that you can do online, maybe it doesn't have a huge lift, but you still need to do some training. Regardless, get that up, because you're going to need that in time to actually apply. And you're going to want to put that on your resume once you actually have determined what role you want to do and if you still want to move forward internally. Okay, so now you've done due diligence and you've determined that you like the role. If you like your supervisor, what you're going to do is you're going to have a seed planting meeting with them a couple of weeks before you apply. You're going to say, hey, or a couple of weeks before you decide that you want to maybe transition into the role. You're going to then tell your leader that you do like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm really excited about this type of opportunity, based off of my experience, blah, 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 blah. You're going to plant those seeds, because if you like that leader, you don't want to burn unnecessary bridges. They know, and again, if they're good leaders, they're going to know that you probably want to grow, and that's okay. But the problem becomes when people apply to these roles and they blindside their leaders, and then leaders who could have been your biggest advocate are now upset because, again, they have no clue what's going to happen to their department if you do leave. Now, after you tell them why you're, applying for the role and why it's important to you, that's when you're going to share with them the transition potential plan. And you're going to say, I want to be proactive that in the event I do get the role, this is what I've come up with. I'd love to go over it with you. Does it make sense? Are there things that would be highlighted? Now, again, I want what's best for the team. So, if this doesn't look right, I'd love for us to go together. Act in partnership. Again, if you have a good relationship with this leader, they will be excited for you and they will want to partner with you because you included them in the process and you were proactive about understanding that there is going to be an impact if you leave that department, because you're literally removing a role from their department. So you can go through that together. Then you're going to follow up via email and you're going to say, thank you so much for your support. I sincerely appreciate, the opportunity to continue my growth. Regardless of what happens, I'm here to support the team. And as discussed, here is the transition document. Cool. Now they're aware, and then you're going to apply that night. If you do not like your supervisor, you are going to apply that evening. You're not going to tell them anything. The next morning, you are going to have a pre-scheduled email that's going to be sent to them that's going to state, hello, supervisor, I do want to let you know proactively that I did apply to this role in this other department. As I've shared previously, I've been really excited about blah, 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 blah. I would love to discuss the potential transition plan in the event I do get the role, because I do have that prepared and would be happy to share that with you. Please let me know if you'd like a one-on-one to discuss further. That is a documentation trail. Now, the reason why you might do this, even like when I say don't like your supervisor, is because maybe they have a history of retaliation. Maybe they have not been your biggest champion. Maybe they didn't prepare you for success. Whatever the reason, you want to make sure you have a documentation trail, again, so that they can't use it against you and say, well, I was blindsided and I was this and I was that. Nope. They were proactively notified, and that protects you in that case. So make sure that whether you like them or not, you have some type of proactive measure so that they are not blindsided, and you are demonstrating in writing that you are not only proactive, but you have thought ahead as to what the impacts of the business could be as it relates to your transition, which will help you a lot. You submitted your application and let your leaders know in whatever way that you are looking out for that role. What you are going to then do is you are going to let that leader of the department that's hiring know. Now, ideally by this point, you've already established a rapport. Like, that is part of the networking aspect, right? So this should not be new. They should at least have a sense by this time that you are interested in the role. And then what you're going to do is you're going to either have a virtual coffee date with them if they're virtual, meet in person with them. You're going to chat with them one-on-one, and you're going to just say, hey, I want to let you know that I did apply for this role. I'm really excited based off of our conversation, what I've seen. And I did want to let you know too that I have notified my supervisor, so they are aware, and I have cultivated a transition plan in the event. Now, I don't want to be presumptuous. Ultimately, I want you to do what's best for your team. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity for applying to the role. And I look forward to the opportunity to apply to it. After that, leave it. And if you don't have the opportunity to meet with them in person, send that same type of email to them notifying them that you've applied for the role. Leave it there, because you don't want to be like, hey, I really want to go. Hey, I really want to go. They're going to know now that you have applied for it. Obviously, they're going to get notified by HR, but ultimately you've now planted the seed, you fertilized it, and you got to let it bloom. And this is how you do that. This is how you ensure this ish blooms. You clock in. And what I mean by that is, this is the part where folks truly shoot themselves in the foot and not realize it, because I've seen it so many times. They're like, oh, I built a rapport. The team loves me. I'm feeling pretty good. I've got a good relationship. I've let my team know. And then they phone it in, meaning they're coming in late. Maybe they're not doing what they need to be doing. Maybe they're not being as responsive because they're assuming, well, I've kind of got it. Like, everyone likes me on the team. Things are feeling great. No, lock in, because not only is that a surefire way for you to not get that job, whether they offer it to you or not, it is a surefire way for you to not have your job. And so make sure that you are locking in once that's in there, because also your leadership, whether they like you or not, they're going to be paying attention to whether or not you actually mean what you said you did, which is about that transition plan, that you're locked into the team, that you care. They're going to be paying attention to that. So not only is that leader going to be asking, okay, like, are they locked in? They're doing great. Like, cool. They're going to be assessing, okay, yeah, they're crushing it. Nothing's changed. Their behavior hasn't changed. But your leader is also going to, if they are empowering you, they're going to be like, oh, okay, like, nothing's changed. They're meeting their metrics. They're still on time. They're still doing everything great. This is the time before the interview's given, before the offer's given, all of that. This is the time that you really lock in. Y'all, this is so important, because I've seen it so many times, and it's like, you got it. You can't assume anything. Even if they say they're going to give it to you, even if they say that you're a shoo-in and you just got to do the interview for formality, lock in so that you have no questions around you, that not only did you mean what you said, but you were that person, and you doing that